We've seen Samsung's Galaxy Fold, and now we're going to see a whole lot more foldable devices. This is TCL's. TCL, if you don't know, makes TVs. They're one of the top display manufacturers. They also own the BlackBerry brand and the Alcatel brand. So this may be a TCL-branded phone, but it's all purely concept devices. Essentially, they're just showing off the new DragonHinge technology, which enables phones to be able to fold. And of course, this doesn't just imply this technology will only be used for phones. It could be for, TVs or wearables, or essentially they're trying to use it for anything and everything that they think it would make a difference or an impact. So for over here we have one type of display. Essentially it's nothing on the back. It's sort of just kind of acts like a wallet that you can open up, and it's pretty compact. Gives you a huge screen when you open it up that you can work with, whether you want to use it for watching movies or multitasking. They also have another one in the middle that is a little more unique because it actually acts as something that you can put on a wrist, like a band, and then you can sort of just take it out and it'll sort of double that in terms of usability, so you can snap it on your hand whenever you don't want to use it as a phone. And there's another clip piece sort of thing that essentially is a tiny phone that you can then fold out to then mimic a more traditional smartphone look. So there's just a few little devices, there's no real major specs or anything like that, because this is a purely concept idea right now, but they did say they plan to come out with a foldable phone by 2020 mid-year, and they are currently working with Google on the software aspect of making it basically usable as a foldable phone running Android. So that's a quick look at TCL's foldable phone technology. Then there's also a BlackBerry device, and BlackBerry is under the TCL brand, and this is actually the same device as last year's BlackBerry Key2. The only difference here is that it comes in this beautiful red finish that gleams in the sunlight. And the only specification change is that it has 128 gigs of storage rather than the starting 64 gigs of storage from last year's Key2. Other than that, the price also does jack up to $750 for that extra storage space, and pre-orders are available right now in Europe, with the phone coming to the US market in the second quarter of the year. And then there's also the Alcatel 3TT. It's basically a separate tablet accessory. So this is a 10-inch tablet with an HD resolution, so pretty standard Android tablet interface. It is running Android Pie. There's a 4080 milliamp hour battery, but also interestingly there's 4G LTE support. But the more interesting thing is this separate multifunctional audio station dock. Basically all you need to do is use these pogo pins at the bottom to snap it on here, and now you get audio playing through this dock, which is obviously going to give you way better sound than speakers on the tablet itself. So just as a quick test, let's just play this song. And that's not even anywhere close to the highest volume. And of course, this will basically enable things like better Assistant integration, obviously, since you'll be able to hear Assistant a little more, so you can sort of make it into a smart display-esque type interface. And other than that, the dock, this also can be bought separately, and there's some play pause functions here with volume control and Bluetooth pairing as well. The tablet itself is going to cost 189 euros. And of course, there's more Alcatel phones as well. Alcatel is under the TCL branding, and this is the Alcatel 1S. So they are meant to be budget phones. This is expected to retail around 109 euros. We're not sure if it's coming to the US at the moment, but just to go over some quick specs, this is a 5.5-inch HD plus resolution screen. There are dual cameras on the back with a fingerprint sensor, which is nice to see in a phone that costs so little. And it is using a unique processor that we haven't really heard much about. It's called a Spreadtrum processor, which is Spreadtrum is basically the third big smartphone chip manufacturer after Qualcomm and MediaTek. So it's a Spreadtrum processor. So we don't think we've ever used a phone with this processor. So it'll be interesting to see how this performs on such a budget device. Then there's the Alcatel 3L, which is not only a bigger 5.94 HD plus screen, but it also beefs up the specs a little. You're getting a Qualcomm processor here, along with 35 milliamp hour battery, 16 gigs of internal storage and 2 gigs of RAM, but there is also a dual camera system on the back, and there's a variant that comes with a fingerprint sensor and one that doesn't. So these are going to run Android Oreo at launch, but they will come with Android Pie in the second quarter of the year. So that's the Alcatel 3L, and this one's going to cost 139 euros. And this is the more flagship of the three budget phones. This is the Alcatel 3. Similar specs as the 3L. For example, similar 5.94-inch HD Plus in screen, which is a teardrop notch at the top. And you're also getting that dual camera design with a 3500 milliamp hour battery. Of course, the design of the back is a little more different. There's this beautiful gradient finish, although it is very much a fingerprint magnet. So these phones run the Qualcomm Snapdragon 439 processor. There is a 3 gig of RAM version with 32 gigs of storage, but also a 4 gig RAM version with 64 gigs of storage. The 3 gig RAM one will cost 159 euros, while the 4 gig one will cost 189 euros. And this phone also is running Android 8.1 Oreo, but again, we'll get an update to Android Pie at some point in the future. All these Alcatel phones will be coming in the second quarter of the year, but again, we don't know if it'll be coming to the US just yet.